faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today I'm going to interpret for you the novel Midnight by Mao Dun. If among modern Chinese novelists, Lao She excels in humor and wisdom, Ba Jun's works are full of passion, then Mao Dun's creations are calm and rational. Published in 1933, the novel Midnight gained attention due to Mao Dun's rational reflections on Chinese society in the 1920s to 30s. Right after publication, it caused a sensation with its massive 300,000 word length and distinct realist style. Just 3 months after release, Kaiming Bookstore reprinted it 4 times. By 1949, it had been reprinted up to 22 times. Its popularity also came from wide readership. For instance, underground communist groups made Midnight a must-read due to its deep portrayal of revolutionary struggles. And Lu Xun proudly told a Soviet friend in a letter, "We in the Left League have Midnight. The Kuomintang's hired writers couldn't produce this." Meanwhile, young ladies from capitalist families also rushed to read Midnight for its detailed depiction of their lives, winning over youth readers. At Fudan University, over 1,000 students bought 400 copies, meaning one for every 3 people. Moreover, Midnight is one of China's rare masterpieces to gain global acclaim. In 1988, Japanese scholars ranked it among the top 10 literary masterpieces of the 20th century. So why is Midnight so highly regarded? We'll cover this classic in 2 parts. The first discusses the main plot and Mao Dun's creative background. Now, the second part focuses on the central issues and artistic value presented in the novel. We see Midnight was popular back then, but why so few read it now? One key reason is it depicts national capitalists, the financial struggle between Wu Sunfu and imperialist compradors like Zhao Bo. If you're not familiar with this history, it's tough to grasp. To help understand, I'll first outline the novel's historical background. When Midnight was published, Mao Dun personally wrote its English title, The Twilight, A Romance of China, in 1930, which means midnight. What was China like in 1930? At that time, China's national industries were on the brink of collapse due to foreign capital oppression, rural unrest, and economic bankruptcy. Flipping through newspapers of the time, pages were filled with news of economic downturn, market depression, factory closures, and worker strikes, especially the unpredictable bond market, which had become a hot topic in high society salons. Every little movement in the bond market affected industrialists, financiers, socialites, and even ordinary citizens. The bonds in the novel refer to debts issued by the Manjing nationalist government under Chiang Kai-shek's rule. Political instability and uncertainty about the government's future caused wild price swings in the bond market. At that time, the Central Plains War between old and new warlords was raging fiercely, with the battle deadlocked. If Chiang Kai-shek's Central Army won, bond prices would rise. Conversely, if Feng Yusheng and Yang Shishan's Northwest Army won, bond prices would fall. After bonds were listed on the Huacheng Stock Exchange on Hongkou Road in Shanghai, they became popular with speculators, and many brokers emerged. With margin trading, you could buy bonds worth 5,000 yuan with just 200 yuan, a 25-fold leverage. But if you guessed wrong, for example, if bonds held by bulls fell by 4%, your 200 yuan margin would be wiped out. To continue trading, you must top up the margin. In early 1930 Shanghai, 200 yuan was no small amount. It could buy 2,000 caddies of rice. So, if you bought 1,000 contracts, you'd need to pay 200,000 yuan in margin, a huge sum only financial giants like Zhao Bo could afford. On the other hand, if bonds rose by 1 point, a bull could make 25 yuan per contract. If you bought 1,000, you could make 25,000 yuan. At settlement, losers had to pay in full, losing everything overnight, while winners got cash and became instantly wealthy. Understanding this, it's easy to see how the financial war without smoke in the novel greatly affected the protagonist's fate. Now, Let's talk about the general plot of Midnight. In May 1930, the Shanghai Shipping Bureau pier was hot and stuffy, crowded with villagers fleeing war. The protagonist, Shanghai industrial tycoon Wu Sunfu, owner of Yua Private Factory, along with his second brother-in-law, financial speculator Du Zhuzai, received his father Wu Laoye, fourth sister Huifeng, and seventh brother Ah Xuan, seeking refuge from Shuangqiao town. Paralyzed for half his life, Wu Laoye had long lived in the countryside. Due to recent bandit rampages and the Red Army spreading like wildfire in neighboring provinces, that's why Wu Sunfu brought him to Shanghai for refuge. And then, however, after his paralysis, Wu Laoye never read any books or newspapers except for the Tract of the Most High on actions and retributions, and never experienced city life. When he saw neon lights all over Shanghai, cars filling the streets, and seductively dressed young women, he was stunned and his nerves were severely rattled. Especially when he saw Oxwan breathing heavily at a young woman in transparent clothes. He finally lost control, foamed at the mouth, fainted on the spot, and despite treatment, passed away that night. The next day, the Wu residents held a grand funeral, and mourners of all kinds flooded in like a tide. Among them were entrepreneurs Sun Jiren, Wang Hefu, Zhao Jihua, Xu Menli, also Wu Sunfu's wife, Lin Peiyao's sister Lin Peishan, and those around him like economist Li Yuting and decadent poet Fan Bowen. And in the crowd, the most eye-catching was financial speculator Zhao Botao, the famous bond king of Shanghai. He came to mourn with ulterior motives, mainly to team up with Du Zushai and drag Wu Sunfu into forming a company for bullish bond trading. As mentioned earlier, so-called bonds refer to those issued by the Nanjing nationalist government, and bullish trading here means speculators like Zhao Botao are optimistic about the Central Army's offensive and bond prices rising. Unlike Zhao Botao, Wu Sanfu isn't interested in finance. He's obsessed with China's capitalist industrial development. Back when studying in Europe and America, Wu Sunfu marveled at the great achievements of Western capitalist civilization. After returning, he resolved to build industries in China, hoping that chimneys of industrial civilization could spread across the land. First, in his hometown Shuangqiao town, he built a commercial empire with various businesses like pawn shops and rice stores. Then, he opened the famous Yuhua silk factory in Shanghai. However, on the very night of his father's funeral, Wu Sunfu's industrial dream plunged into crisis. First, he received a telegram from Feisha Huzi, the manager in Shuangqiao town, saying peasant riots had looted shops, debts might not be recovered, and the commercial empire was in imminent danger. Then Mo Gancheng, the accountant of Yuhua Silk Factory, came in. He reported that workers were slacking off. The novel begins by placing the protagonist in a predicament of internal and external troubles. But Wu Sunfu's dream of saving the nation through industry didn't die. He firmly said, as long as the country acts like a country and the government acts like a government, China will surely have hope. Wow.
He sent telegrams to the provincial government, demanding they quickly dispatch troops to suppress the peasant uprising, while simultaneously summoning the slowdown leader.
Tu Wei Yue, an employee at Yua Private Factory, was from Shuangqiao town, the son of Wu Laoye's friend, just scraping by at Wu Sunfu's factory. Facing Wu Sunfu's interrogation, Tu Wei Yu's calm, composed, alert, and outstanding performance actually made Wu Sunfu admire him. Acting decisively, he promoted Tu to factory manager, and in return, Tu promised to resolve the slowdown crisis promptly. Misfortunes never come singly. The next day, bandits completely looted the Shuangqiao town properties, plunging Wu Sunfu into financial crisis. At this point, he had to accept Tu Zhuhai's suggestion to partner with Zhao Botao in bond speculation. Wu Sunfu and industrialists like Sun Jiren and Wang Hefu established Yuzyang Trust Company, hoping bond market profits would fund their dream of building a capitalist industrial empire.
In the exchange, bond trading was fiercely contested, with intense battles between bulls and bears.
As mentioned earlier, bulls anticipate rising bond prices, while bears profit from price declines.
With the exchange about to open, news arrived that the Central Army was retreating. If confirmed, bond prices would crash.
Bulls like Zhao Baotao would suffer devastating losses.
How could Zhao Baotao just sit idle?
Using military political connections, he bribed the Northwest Army to retreat 30 miles. Zhao suppressed this news, while bears betting on Northwest victory remained clueless. His brokers, Han Mengsheng and confidant Shang Zhongli, spread false news of Central Army defeat, tricking small speculators into short selling. When retreat news finally emerged at settlement, prices soared. Bulls like Zhao made fortunes, and Wu Sunfu won big. Then good news came from Shuangqiao Town. 60% of resident debts could be recovered. Wu Sunfu transferred Shuangqiao funds to Shanghai and poured everything into bonds, hoping to expand capital for greater production. Exploiting the financial crisis, he bought 8 factories worth 300,000 for just 50 to 60,000. Wu Sunfu made a huge profit from his first bond trade, which deeply intrigued him. He used all the 560,000 yuan he'd gathered to speculate in bonds, needing to cover the losses from Shuangqiao Town.
The 8 factories he just bought required production, and his funds were quickly stretched thin.
Despite this financial strain, to achieve his industrial empire dream, Wu Sunfu targeted Qianhe silk factories, dried cocoons, and Italian imported machines, wanting to take it over to support his own factory's production. The takeover opportunity came when Qianhe's owner Zhu Yingji, who owed Du Zhushai 80,000 yuan, requested a repayment extension. Wu Sanfu then conspired with Du Zhuhai to create a new loan contract using Qianhe's dried cocoons as collateral. But Zhu Yingyu wanted to mortgage the factory machines to borrow from Zhao Baotao instead, refusing to deal with Wu Sunfu. Zhu Yingyu's alliance with Zhao Baotao made Wu Sunfu uneasy. Fearing another scheme, he resolved to defeat Zhao in the bond market before focusing on industry. He sent Li Yuting to negotiate with Zhao Baotao, asking him not to interfere in the Qianhe matter. Zhao Baotao knew Wu Sunfu was in financial trouble. He warned Li Yuting that if Wu Sunfu insisted on taking over Qianhe, Yizhang Company would collapse within 3 months from funding shortages. As an economist, Li Yuting recognized Zhao's aggressive plan, forming a financial consortium with foreign capital to take over Chinese factories, which deeply worried him. And he rushed back to urge Wu Sunfu to abandon Qianhe and make peace with Zhao. But Wu Sunfu ignored this advice and instead demanded Du Zhuhai raise another 500,000 yuan for bonds. Du Zhuhai also knew Zhao Baotao was cunning with unfathomable influence. Fearing to battle Zhao and deeming it too risky, he withdrew from Yizhang Company. Du's exit took 200,000 yuan in funds, plus a 100,000 yuan loan that couldn't be secured since he refused to guarantee it. Sure enough, Yizhang faced a cash flow crisis, but Wu Sunfu still refused to quit the bond market. To reassure Sun Jiren and Wan Hefu, he claimed he'd obtained Zhao's secret plan to slaughter the bulls through Zhao's mistress Liu Yuing and broker Han Mensheng, vowing to defeat Zhao with it. He told his partners that only by defeating Zhao Baotao first and breaking the economic blockade could Yisham Company stand firm, allowing everyone to develop industry and commerce smoothly. But he didn't realize he was being tricked. The charming widow Liu Yuying was a double agent. Liu Yuying was a double agent, planted by Zhao Baotao to spy on him. And at the last moment, Han Mingsheng also betrayed him. The strike at Yuhua Silk Factory continued. Wu Sunfu ordered Tui Weiyu to reduce workers and dock wages, demanding the factory crisis end within a day. Weiyu resisted because it would damage the power base he'd painstakingly built in the factory. He called confidantes like Zhen and Gi Changlin to his room to plot. Let workers strike for 2 days to overthrow accountant Mo Genchen's faction, then brutally suppress them. And the strike began. Female workers flooded from workshops, tore up wage cut notices, and charged the management office shouting, pay us fairly, and Sunday work, and rice subsidies. They surged from factories, merging into 4,000, 5,000 workers, launching a general strike across all private factories in Shabei district. Wu Sunfu was trapped in the factory but barely escaped to Wu Mansion under Tu Weiyu's protection. Li Yuting urged Wu Sunfu to use force immediately, warning that without suppression, arson might destroy the factory. Tu Weiyue fired overseers to appease workers while arresting strike activists, attempting to split them from within. Police finally fired warning shots at female workers, arrested 20 plus, and forced 200 back to work, temporarily quelling the storm. Zhao Botao's economic blockade, Yizhong's near bankruptcy, and endless strikes made Wu Sunfu extremely agitated. That exhausted night, Wu Sunfu attended Shumanli's birthday party on a Hongpu river yacht. At midnight, Zhao Botao came to discuss cooperation. He offered to rescue Yizhong with a 3 million yuan loan, with a 500,000 yuan first installment, demanding all company assets as collateral. Facing such a major decision, Wu Sunfu couldn't agree immediately. Next morning, Wu discussed Zhao's proposal with Wang Hefu and Sun Jiren. Wu leaned toward accepting, Long was indifferent, but Sun strongly opposed. He proposed mortgaging the 8 factories to a Japanese consortium, machinery, inventory, and raw materials valued at 600,000 yuan, plus 70,000 plus in company cash, to save Yizhong Company. And
Wu Sunfu agreed and decided to keep betting everything on bonds.
Then, Wang Hefu brought bond market news. Zhao Botao planned to petition the Nanjing government under the Domestic Bond Maintenance Committee to ban short selling.
this would embolden bulls while Wu, who'd mortgaged 500,000 for shorts, faced forced liquidation if he didn't cover his margin. Amid the crisis, Wang suggested pooling 500,000 yuan and having Wu recruit Du Zhuzhai as a short seller.
A night to fight Zhao Botao and survive this ordeal.
Wu Sunfu went all in, mortgaging his factory and mansion for emergency funds. That night, Wu confided in Du Zhushai, revealing all market secrets to persuade him to join as a short-selling ally against Zhao. But Du knew Wu's all-or-nothing play was doomed, so he only pretended to agree. On settlement day, Wu Sunfu arrived at the exchange. 2 months prior on a rainy day, Wu and Zhao partnered as bulls and profited hugely. Today, also rainy, Wu and Zhao clashed in final battle.
Then Wang Hefu learned broker Han Minshan was leaking secrets to Zhao. He told Wu, who still saw Han as controllable, believing bribes and Lu Yuying could pressure him.
Zhao Botao and Wu Sunfu ground their teeth in rage, saw stars, and collapsed, carried back to Wu Mansion to await news. Meanwhile, an unprecedented bull versus bear duel raged in the market. Wu threw his last funds into shorts. Bond prices plunged, seemingly in his favor. But Wu knew the market's balance now rested with Du Zhushai. If Du joined the shorts promptly, they'd win. But what if the opposite happened? Then the phone rang violently. Wu froze after answering. He never imagined Du's move. Joining Zhao as a bull. Du's betrayal meant Wu's total defeat.
He let out a sinister laugh, pulled open the desk drawer, grabbed a pistol, and aimed it at his own chest.
Wu Sunfu ultimately didn't pull the trigger. He sighed deeply, collapsing into the swivel chair as the pistol clattered to the floor. Wu knew everything was lost now, yet he calmed down quickly. He entered his room without noticing Lin Piao. Lin Piao was leaning on the sofa reading The Sorrows of Young Werther from her old flame Lei Min. He said, "Piao, pack quickly. Tonight we board a ship for Guling in Lushen to escape the heat." And, startled Lin Piao only said, "Isn't that too rushed?" But thus the story of midnight comes to an end. National capitalist Wu Sunfu lost everything under joint assault by financial giants and foreign capital. Mao Dun focused on the Wu Zhao rivalry and political forces behind them, supplemented by emotional entanglements of the Lin sisters and intellectuals, earning acclaim for vivid recreation. A key reason, as Mao Dun stated, he dared tackle major realistic themes others avoided, depicting Chinese society on grand scale. Why did Mao Dun create such a monumental realist novel? First, understand Mao Dun, born Shen Yanbing in Wuzhen, Zhejiang. Though his father took imperial exams, he revered modern science, using Western textbooks for Mao's education. Later at Commercial Press, Mao translated foreign literature while writing criticism. By 24, he led literary circles as an esteemed public intellectual. Later, introduced by Chen Duxiu, he joined communist cells, becoming among CCP's earliest members. In 1926, during first KMT-CCP cooperation, he joined Kuomintang individually as secretary of its Central Propaganda Department. Wang Jingwei headed the department. Mao Zedong served as acting propaganda minister. That year, in Analysis of Classes in Chinese Society, Mao Zedong argued China's national bourgeoisie had dual nature, potentially revolutionary, yet distrustful, and deemed their rule impossible. Mao Dun deeply absorbed this class analysis. The idea that national capital couldn't develop in China is fully embodied in Midnight. According to Mao Dun, Chinese national industry in the 1930s faced three major dilemmas. First, facing imperialist economic oppression, global economic panic, and rural bankruptcy, national industries resorted to harsher exploitation of workers to survive. And second, this exploitation sparked economic and political struggles by the working class. Finally, the Central Plains War, rural collapse, and peasant uprisings worsened industrial panic. Mao Dun clearly saw imperialist aggression, domestic chaos, industrial bankruptcy, capitalist struggles, and growing worker movements. Through Midnight, he argued China wasn't heading toward capitalism but becoming more colonized under imperialist pressure. So, this aligned with Mao Zedong's scientific analysis of modern China as semi-colonial and semi-feudal. Meanwhile, Mao Dun's focus on finance stemmed from his unique experiences. After 3 years at Peking University's preparatory school, Mao Dun, through his cousin Lu Shuipu's introduction, joined Commercial Press, then China's top publisher. At that time, Lu Shuipu was director of the bond department in the Ministry of Finance. He later served as chairman of Bank of Communications. As head of the Kuomintang Central Mint, he was a renowned financial titan. In 1930, Mao Dun returned from Japan to Shanghai, convalescing at Lu's residence per doctor's orders. During this period, he circulated within Shanghai's financial circles. Among industrialists, he gained deep insight into financial life or death struggles, business deceptions, and bond market volatility. Thus, Mao Dun centered his narrative on national versus financial capitalists, specifically Wu Xinfu and Zhao Botao's financial battle in Midnight. All right, that covers Midnight's plot and creation background. Episode notes are below the audio. Next time, I'll analyze the novel's ideas and creative techniques. See you then.